Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Nithin Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 1008. Today's a big day. Happy Thursday and NFL Draft Day. So good luck to all these players who's going to get drafted tonight. Today we're joined by a really special guest. His name is Ray Brown. He's a former NFL guard. He went to Memphis and Arkansas State for college. And what a great career he had, man. And so I just want to say thank you for joining the show. And fans, please tune in. We are live on iHeartRadio, Spotify, on all these podcast platforms. And the fans can ask questions to Ray Brown today on our Spreaker app. So fans, please tune in, ask questions. And like I said, big day today. So Ray, I just want to say thank you for joining the show. I know we've been discussing this for a while, and we finally made it happen. And how are you and your family doing?
I'm doing well, Nithin. Thanks for inviting me on. And you're right. Just getting the connection and having an opportunity just to connect. And I really do appreciate you. And then your format, how you do it. I'm very curious in how you do it. And I'm going to rely on you in giving me some advice. But thank you, young man, for inviting me on your show.
Oh, no problem. And first, tell our fans, let's get right to this. I know, obviously, big day for these young players. So for you, take us back to your draft experience. You got drafted in '96, round 8, pick 201 by the St. Louis Cardinals, known as Phoenix Cardinals back in the day. So take us back to your draft experience.
That was 1986.
Sorry, 1986.
Yeah. So,
my fault.
So really, that's a long time ago. I was in class. I didn't have, there weren't mobile phones. Nobody was sitting around at the house like my mom and dad. We were going to celebrate me getting drafted. I had went to the combine. I had did all of the workouts for a couple of teams, but I was an 8th round draft pick. There's not an 8th round right now. So that perspective is really different for me. But it's all the same. It's an exciting day. It's an entry level for a lot of young men who have dreamed about playing at the highest level, and you'll see those dreams fulfilled for a lot of people, and it's going to impact a lot of lives. So it's real cool to see it come about, especially with the exposure that they have now. You get to see it all.
Yeah. So for you, what was it like being with your family and waiting for your name to be called, and then obviously you worked hard throughout your career, and once you finally realized that you're getting to your dream, and once you got your name called, what was it? How relieved were you being with your family, especially on that day?
Well, I'll just tell you, I never dreamed of playing in the NFL. That wasn't a realistic thing for me until I got invited to the combine or until agents started coming around campus. And that was my experience. Now, it might be unique. As a matter of fact, most careers are unique. And that's the thing. My entry level was the day I got drafted. I did not have an agent. I was interviewing agents, trying to figure it out. I was the first pro athlete in my family, that possibility. So it wasn't a big history or a depth of knowledge about the game. I just relied on my college coaches. There have been a couple of players before me, like Maurice Carthon, who had played at Arkansas State, who I'd known. He had been in the league. And then the year before I got drafted, one of my high school teammates, Julius Lewis, who had played at Arkansas State, he got drafted by the Seahawks. So I just really relied on those guys. And then during my senior year, we had some really good players on campus, and we just relied on one another. And really, I just took a great attitude to the league, and I tried to work hard. And, hopefully that's what the results were.
Yeah. So speaking of starting football late, what made you decide to play guard? And obviously, did you get to play any other positions, or was it did the coaches mainly put you in, as a guard, focus you with the guard position?
Well, for me, it was opportunity to where I would play. I was a wishbone tight end in college, and then I got switched to the offensive line. So it became one of those things where you're going to work. Okay, I started out as a tackle, played some guard. I knew I was going to be an offensive lineman. So I just learned the skills, being a young player, you come in thinking you know the business, but what I had to do, I had to become a student of the game because I didn't have a deep history at offensive line play. So the thing I have to do, I have to rely on coaches, have to rely on teammates. And if you want to survive, you better look at the people who are doing it well, who are surviving. You mimic them or mock them and try to do it the way they do it. And that's basically what I did.
Yeah, so yeah, we are live with former NFL guard Ray Brown. We already have a fan question for you, and one of our fans want to know: did you grow up watching football? And if you did, they want to know who some of your role models were in the NFL if you grew up watching while growing up?
Well, I grew up watching football, but I grew up in Arkansas, so I'm in the Delta right across the river from Memphis. So during that time, you saw a lot of Cowboys games, and then the St. Louis Cardinals. We were right down the road. We're about 250 miles from St. Louis. So, but I was a baseball Cardinal fan through my dad because he was a Cardinal fan. So those things got passed on me. But I was a Cowboy fan as a youngster. But once I got into football, I didn't like Dallas. I liked the people who I was playing for. I was a Cardinal. I was a 49er. I played with the Washington football team, and I played with Detroit. So, yeah. I liked the people who I played with. And that's kind of what my football career was like. But my role model is probably my oldest brother, Melvin Brown. He was the last great athlete from the segregated schools, 1970 in Marion, Arkansas. So I saw him play basketball and participate in sports. And really, he saw my uncles who played basketball, and that's the reason he's played basketball. So the legacy of me playing football or playing sports really lies in my older brother trying to mimicking my father's brothers. And that's kind of how I made it, how I'm coming to find out how I made it, because I like what my older brother did.
Wow, that's amazing. And for you, speaking of St. Louis, obviously you played with some great franchises starting your career. So tell our fans what it's like, especially with the 49ers, historic franchise, and obviously you play with great talent, great players, great teammates. And what was it like putting that gold and the red uniform and the gold helmets?
Well, the thing about the 49ers, it's about the people. I would have to say the people were probably what I remember the most. How you got treated, how once you go into the building, you're part of that group. And the Bartolo York families, I'm grateful for. The Brown family is very appreciative of how we got treated, what we were allowed to do there in regards to career, the people we met, the community that we got involved in. I'm very thankful and grateful for those people. Same thing in Washington, Detroit, it's the people, teammates, it's the experiences. So I was fortunate to have those with some good people, and that's why those linger. My times with the 49ers, my times in Detroit, and my times in Washington.
Yeah, so for you, how tough is it for you as a player moving from team to team? Obviously, some players would love to stay with one team throughout your career, but NFL is a business, a lot of player movement. So for you, how tough is it for you to, after getting drafted from St. Louis, spending time there, and then moving from team to team? But you got to learn different cultures, different teammates, and obviously great players.
Well, you learn that there's always a pecking order, and I you have to figure that out. Some guy's been sitting in a seat for 9 or 10 years. You show up from a team and you sit in this seat. That's not a good thing. But you figure it out. I've never shirked or shied away from competition, and that's really what the NFL is. It's high pressure, high performance, and I had to learn that. Like I said, I looked at the people who were surviving. I saw them, and then I mimicked that. And then, I came in with a work ethic, which was passed on to me from my parents. So that's probably the best talent or the biggest gift that I could highlight is my work ethic. And then I really enjoyed the competition, Nathan. I wanted to be in the game. I wanted to be a part of it. I didn't want to be on the sideline. So I was just motivated by that, and then just given the opportunity. If you give me the opportunity, allow me to work, and then if I'm receptive to the coaching and try to learn out how to do the thing, I think I could have success. And that's just how I operate in my daily life.
Yeah, so we have another fan question for you. Loving this fan interaction right now. One of our fans want to know, they want to go back to your college days, and what was it like playing for Arkansas State? And also you played for Memphis, so take us to that.
Yes.
Playing for two colleges.
Well, it was interesting. So I came out of a little small town in Marion, Arkansas. It's right across the bridge, real small town. So I got recruited by everybody. But for me, in my mind, I'm a basketball player. That's just what I wanted to do. And I thought that's what's going to be my niche. I was going to go to college. That was no question. My parents wanted me to go to college. Football found me. Everybody came by and recruited me. I took recruiting trips to UCLA, Tennessee, Arkansas, Ole Miss. Like, I went to those things, and I don't think I was aware, Nathan, of how good I was in football, nor that was important. I just knew I wanted to play basketball or football, but really the opportunity. So Memphis came in, recruited. At that time, it was Rex Dockery at the University of Memphis. God rest his soul. He won my mom over. Like, everybody came to my house. Johnny Majors, Lavelle Edwards, Terry Donahue, all of those guys. I just chose Memphis because I thought it was going to be a real cool environment where a lot of the guys that got recruited there, I knew them. And I still know them to this day, like Kevin Chapman, Tim Harris, who played with the Niners, who played with the Green Bay Packers. I still know those guys to this day. I'm 18, 19 years old. And those are the guys, local guys. We were going to go over and change the University of Memphis. I'll be a part of that. Now I'm across the bridge in the metropolitan area. So I enjoyed that. Wasn't happy with being bounced around at a lot of positions. Yeah. Probably should have stayed at one place, but that's all right. I found a home at Arkansas State. Very appreciative of Larry Lacewell giving me an opportunity. Very appreciative of Eldon Holly coaching me. That was the thing. I had a really good college coach that helped me. I have to fall back on how I made it. It'll be because of the coaches. It'll be because of those people. But Eldon Holly, Larry Lacewell, Rex Dockery, those were the early guys in my career. Then in high school, my brother coached me. Jeff Hall, who was my first football coach, who's left a mark on me. I have to acknowledge him. And then just teammates. But I played in a wishbone offense at Arkansas State. I was a tight end. I had fun playing with guys I had played with in the state of Arkansas, guys I had played against in high school. So it was cool that we got to work with some local state talent, and we were good. We figured it out. Matter of fact, my time there at Arkansas State, we probably had some of the best players in the history of the program. Like I said, Maurice Carthon came through there, Fred Barnett, who played with the Eagles, Greg Lee, who played with the Steelers, Mike Klein, who got drafted with the Green Bay Packers, Carteret Crawford, who, for me personally, might be the best player I've ever played against. Now, when you say that, that's got to be, that sounds preposterous, but the best player doesn't always sometimes make his way into the league. But that's my observation, and that's how I hold him in high regards. And then I'm really, really partial because that's my old roommate.
Oh. Yeah, speaking of Fred Barnett, we had him on the show also. He was on the show, and it was an honor talking to Fred Barnett. What a great player he was. Obviously, great receiver. He told us some great stories on the show too when he was on. But for you though, you made the right choice to play football. Like I said, you had a heck of a career. You made a Pro Bowl in 2001. So that's you made the right choice to play football. And for you, I got to ask you, it must have been extra special for you going back home near, because you were born in Arkansas and you got to go to Arkansas State. So how special was that for you going back to Arkansas and being with your family, so your family and friends can watch you play?
Well, see, my thing is I'm an Arkansas guy. I love everything about Arkansas. I just happen to spend most of my life outside of the state, but I'm an Arkansan through and through. I like everything about Arkansas. I'm not one of those guys that say I will never go back to Arkansas. It's special to me. It's marked my life, the people. So I have to acknowledge them, and I feel a great comfort when I go home, because that's what it is. It's home. I don't feel foreign. So I like representing the people that have meant the most in my life and who have influenced me in a big way. So it's always cool to go back. I love Arkansas State. I like what's happening with the program under Butch Jones. There are some changes that are gonna be going on there, but I support the university. I promote the university. So I'm a big homer. So any way I can support Arkansas State, encourage people about Arkansas State, I do, and I go back. You know, I don't want to be a foreigner. Like, I want to be familiar when I go back, and that's important to me.
Yeah. So we have another fan question. They want to know how important is it to be? How important is the guard position? Obviously, in NFL, quarterback is the most important position, but I always say the offensive line is also. So one of our fans want to know, how important is it to be when you're on the offensive line, and especially being a guard?
Well, I think they're all important, Nathan, but you got to think about that guard is protecting that A gap, which is the closest gap to the quarterback. So obviously that's important. But offensive line play and being able to work together with 5 people as a unit, that's probably the best thing or best feeling I've had, because your success is tied to those other 4 individuals. You being one of them, and then the other 4 in regards to how you work with them. And being on the left side, being on the right side, sometimes your job is the success of a play is gonna depend on what you do over there on the right side, even though the play is going to the left. So your peers know that, and I think it becomes one of those things of those data boys or way to goes, that you really get in those intimate settings of meetings. In the big picture thing, nobody knows what that right guard is doing on that play that goes to the left. But those purists and those people who play with that guy know him just taking the correct step or getting his hat in the right place gives that running back room to run through that hole. So that kind of stuff I love. And those are the moments that I really treasured about how you have success and how important your job is to work and improve whatever play that you run.
Oh, yeah. So tell our fans, I want to go back to 49ers. Obviously, you got to play with Steve Young, Jerry Rice, T.O., Steve Wallace. I can go down the list. So what was it like playing, obviously, Hall of Famer Bryant Young, you played with? So what was it like being on the offense? You guys had a loaded offense, and it must have been a treat for you to block Steve Young and play with Steve Wallace too.
Well, I think the big thing there is that there was a level of competition in practice that existed among offense, defense, just the style in which they practice, how they practice. I was coming over from Washington at the time, which football culturally is 2 dynamics. I'm coming from Washington where we're banging, real physical. And then I'm going to San Francisco where it's about movement, quickness, timing, being precise. And it took me about 8 weeks to really figure it out, like their style of practice, how to play, and it converted me. I think Bill Walsh created a real interesting culture that really lingers in modern day football, and how you practice, how you prepare, what's the structure of your practice that a lot of teams employ today. And the preserving your player for competition, in regards to how you practice. But what I found in San Francisco is that the speed of the practice and how the men approach practice. And really that's what I kind of try to promote in the high school football that I do. You really want to practice how you play. Like, how is it that you play a certain way in a game and you haven't practiced that way in practice? You haven't performed that way. Now, it's a simple thing to say, but it's really something you have to do. You really have to play to your character or play to your profile in the competition. So why waste your time fooling around with things that you aren't going to do in the competition and aren't going to contribute to you winning the game? That's kind of what I learned in San Francisco. And then the speed of the game, and then really how they treated the player. Mr. DeBartolo and the York family, they were some of the best owners I've ever been around, and they took care of the player. Now that's a big part of being successful. They serviced the entire player. When I say they serviced the entire player, it was the player, his family, and his entire support network. And I think that's important, and I think that creates a sense of belonging, a sense of you're in something special. And that was my time in San Francisco.
Wow. Yeah. So tell some of our fans some of your best moments, best career games, and in college and then in the NFL also.
Well, it's interesting. My last college game, we got beat in the playoffs by University of Nevada, Reno. That's probably the one game. I'm not a good experience, but I know it was just my last college game, and it was pretty vivid to me. I still can talk to some teammates, and the memories come back. So the one thing I'll know, Nathan, is that the shared experiences that I've had with people binds you for life. They may look at a game a little different than you, and I might look at it a certain way. But I know that we both were in that game, and we both had that experience. And our perspective and our view are both valid. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we both had those experiences, and that's what I've had with a lot of teammates. And there have been a lot of moments in my life that I treasure. I don't know that I could really designate or pull a point out per se, but I could know things that have been consistent in my life is that my family and my wife supporting me are big in my career, whether it's Detroit, Washington, St. Louis, Arizona, San Francisco. Those are the things that I remember. You mentioned Steve Wallace.
Yeah.
A lot of my memories of Steve Wallace aren't necessarily on the field. They are now. When I saw him, when we gone back and we went back to honor Bryant Young at his red coat ceremony. And then congratulations to him, BY getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. So, those are the moments that I treasure, seeing those things happen for my teammates, and then just having an opportunity to visit with them and reminisce about those stories. So that's probably what I treasure the most.
Did you, speaking of Brian Young, did you get to go to the Hall of Fame speech when they enshrined him?
Yeah, we saw him at the Super Bowl. We spent some time together. It's been really cool. He's probably one of my better friends in football.
Wow.
Love his family and what he's about, and yeah, he gets in for his play. But I tell you, the type of person he is, there should be a lot of room in the Hall of Fame for him. It just happened to be, he happens to be a pretty good dude that played football at a high level. And God bless him and his family of this honor. And it's a shared honor. And you'll see that. That's the type of man he is. And it's real cool to witness him going into the Hall.
All right. We have another fan question for you. They want to know what made you change positions from tight end to offensive guard, And they also want to know, did you ever think of sticking at tight end throughout your career?
No, wishbone tight end, can't catch. I'm basically a lineman. So it was an easy switch for me. And then I was a real good run blocker. One of my coaches I had, Joe Bugle, would always say, if you can run block, he could teach you how to pass protect. So I showed up in camp being able to run block. So having that ability, made it natural for me, or easier for me, to bump over and play offensive line. And then I couldn't catch. I wasn't a real receiving tight end. I ended up where I needed to be, and God bless them for making that decision early.
Yeah, so for you, obviously, after your playing career, you were coaching. You got to coach some of your former teams that you played with, Washington, San Francisco. You were a coach at Carolina too, and obviously Arizona Cardinals. So what was it like translating your career, your playing career, and then seeing the game from a different aspect from a coach, and telling and helping these kids out or players out, and then sharing some of your experiences as a player?
Well, I know I show up as an encourager. I know how to encourage guys, how to do it, that type of thing. And eventually, I find my voice. Coaching is a different world because what I really came to find out is that when you take your hand off that grass as a player, and then all of a sudden you say, hey, what do I want to do? What are those opportunities out there for me? Some of those spaces aren't welcoming, because you think about it, you're going from the grass to the class. Coaches have to figure out where's that space. Do all players make good coaches? No. But players can coach. And so I was met with a lot of that. You played the game, you can't coach, or why do you want to coach? I just love football. And I just know my passion about the game, or really my passion about people, and it happened to be in the football world, that I would find my way. And that's kind of what I did. I was able to find my voice, able to talk about football, and that's what I enjoy. Football has made an indelible mark in my life. It's a part of who I am, but it doesn't define me. But it does give me my experiences does give me a way to share and teach and give information to young men who want to play. So that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah. So what did you, as a coach, what have you learned from each stop? Obviously, with these young players, you get to not only you get to learn these players on the field, but you get to learn off the field with their personalities, their families, their backgrounds, and what have you learned as a coach when you meet with these players that you coach?
You nailed it. Personality. It's about people. You got to remember, these are people who play football. So you deal with the people first, and then you teach them the football. You really have to figure out who that person is, and then how can they fit into your organization, especially on the professional level. And I think that's what it is. Professional football is a job. You have a lot of people that want to do the game, but you don't have a lot of people who are professional.
Yeah. So for you, tell our fans what's it been like for you now, just after your career, after coaching, and tell our fans what you've been doing now, and are you planning on going back to coaching?
Well, I'm actually coaching my son's high school football team.
Okay.
This is I have a real cool experience with football. We got out. My son had a hard time adjusting to moving to Arizona, and he finally found a place where he could play football, and the community really embraced him. So he played at Arcadia High School out here in Phoenix. And now he's at Duke University. So he found a place where he could play. We got fired from Arizona after 1 year. And then we thought, well, okay, let's let this young man finish his high school years out in Arizona. And that's kind of what we did. He was able to finish. And then right after his senior year, they needed a coach. And they called and asked me, and I got asked, and then for me, I have to ask permission from my wife, because football takes a lot of time. Okay. So now I'm coaching high school football at Arcadia High. This will be my second year. And I'm excited about it. So, it gives me an opportunity, one, to teach football, and then I have to be authentic. Like I'm not going to waste my time, and then I'm not going to waste a young man's time. And we got a good group of young people that want to play football, that want to be coached. And we're within administration, we're supported. So it's a cool environment that we can play high school football, and we're going to take a stab at it and try to make a run at trying to be a good football team.
Yeah, so we have another fan question for you. They want to know, what was your pregame routine before you played a game?
Well, I was pretty simple. I didn't like getting to the stadium early. I don't want to spend a lot of time at the stadium. The thing I want to do is get in there, get tape, get out on the field. I wanted it to be close to when I get to the stadium, I'm getting out on the field, pretty quickly. So I'm usually on the last bus because it's quiet. I'm not putting on a whole lot of pads. I'm putting on 2 thigh pads and some knee sleeves. So, I'm not wearing a whole lot of pads. So it doesn't take a lot of time for me to get ready. But I did put on my left shoe before my right shoe all the time. I wrote a couple of initials on my wristband for people that meant something to me. It was, in my last game, I always wrote my father's initials, my father-in-law's initials, Bob McKittrick's initials, because he had passed and coached me at 49ers, and then Jeff Fontana, who was the son of Sandy Fontana with the San Francisco 49ers. He was killed on duty as a police officer. And I always wrote down his badge number. So it was JF 3702. And what's so cool about that, Nathan, I got a chance to see Sandy and tell her what that meant for me, let her know, because Sandy was a lady. She took care of the kids, the players' kids. And for her to lose a son, it was real tragic. It was tough. So that was my routine. Like, I think about that. I told her, I was like, I always remember his badge number. Wow. Jeff Fontana, God rest his soul.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's inspiring right there. And for you though, I want to ask you, so piggy off from that. And speaking of sacrifices, obviously you guys put in a lot of work with these athletes and players, but I always say the most important thing is your spouse or your significant other, like your wife. So how important was it throughout your career to have a person in your life that had your back from day one and made sacrifices? It's like I always say, the wife is like the quarterback of the family. So how important is it? How important was that your wife was behind your back from day one?
Nathan, I got a first ballot Hall of Fame wife. Yeah. Like my wife Ashley really is about that thing. She's such a genuine connector of people. She really means well. Like she does. That's her thing about, she loves this football culture, because at the end of the day, who you are in this community is what type of person you are. And I knocked it out the park in regards to my spouse. I'm very appreciative, really blessed to have a God-fearing woman who really cares about other people. She has compassion. She's a part of Off the Field organization. She's one of the original founders. I'm sitting at a table now where she started this organization with her money, with her passion, with her friends, that's still surviving to this day. They do an annual fashion show at the Super Bowl. I think they just finished their 20th year or 25th year of doing it. And it's just women that are just busting their ass, doing the right thing for the right reasons. And you'll see, it's her, Sharice Brown, Tim Brown's wife, uh, wow, Randy Jordan, Ramonda Jordan,
Wow.
and my wife, Ashley Brown. Like those three ladies bust their ass for this organization to try to make something different, try to rope in everybody, retired players, current players, and they are that thing that's going. It's called Off the Field. Erica Lasher is the past president. So I know from a personal standpoint that my wife started that, and it started from a good place. My wife's the type of person, for me, you get jealous of how she treat her friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, okay, if my wife she's a good wife, surely she'll be a good friend. So that's what I respect about my wife. She's been that chick, man. Like she really is. And she's like that. Probably my worst experience in football was when I was with the Cardinals, where I was coaching a game and she got mistreated by the security at the stadium. That still bugs me to this day, because I know my wife shows up. If she's in a football building, it's all about goodwill. She's outstanding, man. So you guys follow her off the field, Ashley Brown, off the field football, women's football organization. Mm-hmm. They're a big instrument in whatever success players are having. And then they do a lot of things in the community. Wow. So I got that superstar. I got that first ballot NFL Hall of Fame wife. And so she knocks it out the park.
Well, that's amazing. Yeah, we will definitely check out that organization, and we'll help in any way. If you guys need help with that, we will help with that. And shout out to your wife, man. They're doing great things, and
yes, sir.
That's amazing. So for you, so looking at this draft tonight, and obviously your offensive line, offensive guard, there's a lot of offensive talent in this draft tonight. Which players do you like to watch? Actually, let me say this: which offensive lineman do you like to watch now in the NFL, and which one do you like to? Which one are you going to keep a close eye on tonight, whoever gets drafted?
Well, there's so much talent in the league, and how it's easy for me to kind of focus it down for me. Like, where are the teams that I played for? Who are the teams that I coach? So I just start going through that, and then who do I know coach? So I start looking at players that way. Obviously I want to look at the guys who are coaching in the league that I've coached with and make sure they're doing well and evaluate their talent. But it's going to be an exciting time in the draft. There's a lot of players in this draft that are going to have great careers.
Yeah.
But at the offensive line level, you're looking for guys, one, who are athletic, who can protect the quarterback. So you're gonna go to those legacy schools that have done it in the past. You're gonna go to the Iowas, the USCs, the North Carolina State now has a legacy now putting out some offensive linemen. So you'll see that. That's what's gonna pop up. And obviously everybody's always looking for a quarterback. The quarterback, the people that protect the quarterback, the people that can sack the quarterback. Look at those guys, and those are going to be the players that you'll see drafted. So now that edge rusher, who's the top edge rusher? Who's the top tackle? Those two positions. When you see that edge rusher, who's the top edge rusher, then you start evaluating from a scouting standpoint. Who has he played against? What conference does he play in? And then you'll start finding out where the talent lies.
Wow, that's gonna be interesting to see. And we have another fan question for you. They want to know what's it like going back and seeing your former teammates that you play with, and it's like a reunion. So what's that like for you, just to see you go to a certain place and come together again with your former teammates? They want to know.
Well, I finally got to experience it in three places, because most of the time I've been coaching or I might have even been playing, because I played until I was 43. So some of those guys might have been at the event and I was playing. Wow. But what's happened is that I got a chance to go back to Washington, San Francisco, and Detroit. And each place it brought back memories. It perked up some relationships. It revived some relationships. So it's been really cool. I love being back in Detroit. I love being back in Washington. And I love being back in San Francisco. And in all of those moments, I was able to connect with some people that I hadn't spoken to in a while, and people that I'm connected to now. So all a really good experience. And I think it's cool that most teams are doing that, because a lot of times when the player leaves, is out of the game, he doesn't really feel connected to it. And I love what the Lions are doing in their legacy program. It's really cool.
Yeah. So, what do you like about today's NFL? What do you like about today's NFL? Obviously it's different from when you guys played. But what do you like about the change of this era?
I like the game, but the game has to evolve, because the fan is evolving. The people who sit in the stands, who watch the game, how we consume the game. Think about it. A lot of us aren't sitting in front of our TVs when we watch football.
Yeah,
it's going to be on our handheld, and that's to me. I like that, and I totally get it. I think there's a way that you can rope in more fans. The game day experience is different for a lot of people. They may have sitting in front of a bunch of TVs. They may be sitting in their backyard in their swimming pool watching the TV out the back. I love that. I love who the players are. We can't really look from the lens of, well, the days are back in the day we did this. True, that has some relevance. But today's game is today's game, and I think we have to be able to consume it in a way where we can evaluate it without being so critical and so hard on who the people are that play the game.
Yeah. So before we get to the last few things, what advice would you give to these players going into tonight, waiting for their names to be called? And some of them will be with their families, but most of them will be in Vegas too. So what advice would you give to these players going in?
Well, I think this is the biggest part of your football career. If you're talking about going into the football business, and knowing that 3 things: know where you have your body, know what you put in your body, and know who you're allowed to be around your body. Because now you're getting into that era where if you're at the maximum level of your career, be mindful of those things. Those things can impact you. What you put in your body, how you're allowed to have around your body, and what you put into your body. That's important, man. So be disciplined enough in this short time and space to be conscientious about that. The situations that you're going to be in and where you put yourself, what you put in your body, and who you allow around your body. Because that's how you make your money. Mm-hmm. Just really be conscientious that take that time now to be disciplined, and it will reward you. I promise you. Hard work really does matter. Just work smart and work hard, and you'll get the reward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said there. And what are you most looking forward to this upcoming year as a coach? So coaching a high school, and obviously your son. What are you most looking forward to as a coach coming up?
Well, for me, it's my second year doing it. There's a plan, and just in any football situation, you get to learn the people around you. And that's what I'm going to tap into, know who I'm around, work with the people I'm around, be firmly planted where I'm at. My goal is to be the best over there at Arcadia High School football. That's what I got to do. That's where my focus is. I'm not distracted, and I'm just going to try to focus on being the best that I can. And then I got to do that and be responsible for that, for the coaches and the players who are over there at the school.
So the last 2 things, our team is part of this foundation. It's called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. He's a former NFL coach. He's now coaching at Grambling State University. We're trying to help him prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe, the kids stay safe. So we'll send you guys a foundation so you can go check it out.
Thank you.
Yep. And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and all the essential workers right now?
Well, we're very appreciative of all the doctors and nurses in this space now and in these challenging times. I just pray that for your safety in in just meeting all the medical emergencies that have been out during this phase and this pandemic time. And I just pray for your security and truth that will prevail in these times, and then that we come together in all of this, that it not divide us, and us includes everybody. I don't care what party you're in, what color you are, or what state you're from. Us is us, and that's everybody. And we have to be receptive and embrace all people. And I'm for that. Like, I really do hope this brings us together, but God bless the doctors and the nurses and all in the medical field.
Oh, yeah, well said. And there it is. That wraps up episode 1008 with former Arkansas State, Memphis NFL guard Ray Brown. Go follow him on Instagram and go check out his stuff. What a great career! Like I said, a great player, and he's doing big things off the field. He's a coach now, so looking forward to seeing you guys coach again this season. But first of all, Ray, I just want to say thank you for joining the show. It's truly an honor. Thank you to our fans for tuning in and asking questions. Also, great questions from our fans. But we would love to have you back on the show down the line so you can meet the full team. But keep up the great work. Good luck this year as a coach, and happy NFL Draft Day to everyone today. Enjoy the draft, whoever's watching it, and good luck to these players. And thank you again, Ray.
Yeah, Nathan, be alert, man. I'm starting a show too, so I want you guys to be. Yeah, I'm doing my thing too, Nathan. So I like what you're doing. I know how you're doing it. I'm gonna do it too. Okay, so tell your guys to follow me.
Hey, Ray,
I'm gonna interview you.
Yeah, do you want to plug your show here? You want to plug?
Well, it's gonna be Sit Down with Ray Brown. It's gonna be on my Instagram platform. Now I'm kind of finding my way. Like, I like this space and how you do it. I really do. So I'm gonna do that thing, and I want you guys to follow me, Nathan. Yeah, man. God bless. I like what you're doing, young fella.
Thank you. But yeah, thank you again. And like I said, we'll stay connected, obviously, and enjoy the draft tonight. And good luck to your son. And shout out and send us your wife's organization. We'll check it out too.
Okay, Off the Field.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, OTF.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.